Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing 6 different alternative tools or hacks that help me use my index cards even better. And so what you see in front of you on the screen is just a variety of those different tools. So let's dive right in and start with the simplest one, which I think everybody will likely have at home. And that is just a regular old binder clip. Now, I would suggest that you use a medium-sized binder clip, not the teeny tiny ones and not the large ones. The medium one seems to work best for this. And you can use a binder clip to create a little stand for an index card. All you have to do is make sure that the binder clip is closed with the 2 metal flaps or wings completely touching. And then all you do is slide your index card in between those 2 metal flaps. And it will actually enable the card to stand up wherever you place it. Now, the only downside to this is I find that sometimes it's frustrating because if there's a lot of action on my desk, if I'm moving papers around, it's very easy to, let's see, can I even demonstrate that? It's very easy to knock it over. And so while this hack works and it's easy, I thought, you know what, there's got to be a way. There's something else that I could do that would be cheap and easy and would work better. And so I put my little brain to work and saw some erasers that I had lying around and thought, I bet you I can do something with that. Now, there's a couple different things you can do. First of all, you can use any eraser. You can use the cheapy pink pearl erasers. These are just a couple erasers I got at a local dollar store. Doesn't matter. The only ones I would suggest not using for this would be the art gum erasers, simply because they crumble so easily. I don't think they'd work as well. Now, there's 2 different ways to do this, but what we're going to do is use erasers to create an index card stand. Now, the way that I do it is just easy for me, is I take a utility knife or an X-Acto knife, a craft knife, and it's really hard to see on this blue one, but I did want to show this because I love the color blue. But I'll demonstrate on the white one here. It's much easier to see on screen. And you can see I'm not exact at all. I just take the craft knife and I cut a groove into the eraser itself, being very careful not to cut all the way through the eraser itself. Otherwise, you're going to end up with 2 small erasers, and that's not going to work. So I cut about 1/3 of the way to maybe halfway through. And all that does is create a little groove. And you can actually squeeze the ends of the eraser to open that groove even more, I found. And you can just slide the index card in, and there you go. It creates a perfect stand for an index card. Now, why do I like this over the binder clip? A couple different reasons. One, it's more weighted. It's far more stable. I can put this on my bookshelf. I could put it anywhere. And a lot of stuff can happen next to it, and it's far more difficult to knock over than the binder clip stand. Another thing I like about this, it's non-slip. It's more grippy on the surface wherever you have it sitting, whereas the metal of a binder clip slides around a lot more. Lastly, if you're using the binder clip as a stand, you can notice that the 2 metal flaps or wings obscure or block out, or just, you know, it just doesn't look pretty. The whole card is invisible. But when you use the eraser, far less of the index card is obscured. Very little, just along the bottom there. Now, if you don't want to use a knife or for whatever reason, you could also take 2 erasers and then just put them together and put a little pretty washi tape all the way around, leaving some area at the top where you could slide your index card in between the 2 erasers. That would give you even more stability and could even become a decorative little option for you. But I love using erasers, and again, you could do this with any style, shape, color. You could get really creative, and it's cheap, and it's easy, and it's accessible. So my next hack is using stainless steel rulers to create little magnet strips for my index cards. Because I live, breathe, and function using my index cards, I like to have them up, and not just on my desktop, but on my walls, underneath my monitor while I'm working, while I'm writing, so that they're easy for me to reference. And that way I'm not so worried about forgetting anything because what I need to remember is right in front of me. And sometimes you don't need a big old magnetic board. You just need a little strip to put your card. And so let me grab an index card again. Now, the only word of caution on this, let me show you the mistake I made. I found this beautiful ruler. I think I got it at Target, back to school time. And I thought, wow, that's a gorgeous blue. I wouldn't have to pretty this up. Don't have to do anything. You just slap that on the bottom of my monitor and I'm good to go. The problem is when I got it home, it's aluminum. It's not magnetic. So while I have a great ruler, that's all I've got. So I couldn't use it for my purpose. So again, learn from my mistake. Make sure you get yourself just a stainless steel ruler. This is a regular old 12-inch one. And as you can see, that's not going anywhere. They are magnetic. And it's just really, really convenient. Now, you can leave it with just the ruler. You're going to oftentimes just cover it with index cards anyway. You can also cover it with some solid colored duct tape or some pretty washi tape. You could wrap thin paper over it, wrapping paper even to make it pretty, if you don't want to have the actual ruler portion showing. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen. I actually spray painted mine with my favorite spray paint, Rustoleum, 2 times cover. If I can find a link for that, I'll leave it down below. But it doesn't really matter. The point is you're trying to use this ruler in a way that just a small magnet board. Now this one you can see has a cork back. It doesn't really matter. You can still adhere this to whatever surface you need to. But if you can, if all things being equal, try and find a stainless steel ruler without any kind of back on it. On my monitor, I use a 6-inch one. I find that to be the perfect size, but you could use a 12-inch one anywhere. Again, even underneath your monitor if you wanted to. Now, how do I adhere the stainless steel ruler to my wall or my monitor? A couple different ways. Command strips work great. Museum putty is also great, though I haven't had as much success with museum putty as with the command strips. But hands down, my far and away my favorite is clear adhesive discs, and I will leave a link to this down below because I buy them off Amazon. I buy them cheap. I love having them around because they are just so versatile, and again, they're cheap and works great for this purpose, and they peel off beautifully, even easier than command strips, I find. So I can't recommend those adhesive discs highly enough. But going off of this same idea, I have a little cabinet that's, it's hard to call it a cabinet. It's this tiny little thing next to my monitor. I have 2 writing stations, and I keep the 6-inch ruler underneath my business monitor where I work. I work part-time for an international organization, but I also do my own thing the other part of the time. And in that area, I have a little cabinet, and it wasn't really easy to put a ruler on that. So I thought, what could I do? What other hack could I come up with besides the ruler? And you know what? Mason jar lids. I was so stoked when I came up with this idea because I find them all the time at the thrift store. You can buy a bunch of just the lids without the rims real cheap on Amazon. But here's the thing. Look, they are stainless steel. Some of them aren't. So if you are buying these, make sure that you're looking for the stainless steel ones. If you're buying these at a thrift store, heck, take a magnet with you and just test it then and there. But these work great because, again, I can put the 3M strip, or I can use those adhesive discs. And then I got really excited about this idea that I actually spray painted a couple of these. And then now these are on my cabinet. And it just works great for holding my index cards. And I actually like these OXO clips. These were an investment. I recommend them, but heads up, they aren't cheap. But for me, it was a one-time investment, and I use them constantly. And I like them because I can either clip, I think these are chip clips, I'm not exactly sure, but OXO is the brand. You can clip it, or you can actually use the magnet just to hold the card up. And I like these because I can have a couple index cards together on one clip. So anyway, I love using stainless steel rulers and now mason jar lids as small little magnet boards for my index cards. So my next tip, tip number 5, is using braided elastic. Now, I'm not going to get into how and why I use index cards for planning. That's another video for another day. But I did want to share that I do create these decks, these collections of note cards for various different projects that I'm working on. And they can get, and while it's organized and contained with the clip, or excuse me, the binder ring, they can get kind of messy and unruly in my writing tote, in my purse, in my basket, on my desk. So I like to have them contained. And I used to use regular old rubber bands. Yep, those work great. I don't like them though. They snap, they break, they get brittle, they wear out. They just seem far more wasteful to me. So then I moved to these silicone bands, which I love because they're pretty. You can get them in all different colors. And I love that aspect of it. If you've watched any of my videos, you're going to know I love color. Color just makes me happy. So I love the wide variety of color, but I did not, and these last, boy, I've used these for years and have not broken a single one, but they're round. And so they don't sit real flat. And call me picky, I just didn't like that. So then I got some of these flat silicone bands, and they come in just as many colors as well. And of course I have a ton here, and these do not wear out. They do not become brittle like traditional rubber bands. However, I just find them, they're hard for me. I don't have real good grip in my hands. I have psoriatic arthritis, and these are difficult for me to use. So, well, that wasn't going to work. So what did I do? I grabbed me a 6-inch scrap of 1/4 inch braided elastic, and then I just looped it and tied it. As you can see, I didn't even bother freight checking that. I don't care. But what I love about the elastic is, 1, it's cheap. 2, it's easy to find. It's easily accessible. Any craft store, fabric store, even Etsy. I actually buy grab bags or mixed lots of scrapped elastic. That's where I get mine. But why do I like it? 1, it lays flat. 2, it's easy on my hands to use. 3, it's colorful. I can get printed elastic. I can color code. You know, sky's the limit as far as variety. It's fun, and it's also just by far easier for me to pull off and put it on. Ironically, this knot at the top actually helps me. And it's flat, not like those round silicone bands. So I love using braided elastic. Now, last but certainly not least, I'm going to share my absolute favorite tip. And like I was saying, I'm a writer, and so I'm constantly keeping decks of cards on my desk for me to reference while I'm writing. So like if I'm working on a chapter, I'll go to that particular card, or so on and so forth. But I was keeping my deck next to me on the desk, and I was constantly turning to the side to reference my deck while I was writing. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It works, but I thought surely there's got to be something easier. Surely I can make my work area much more efficient and ergonomic. And so enter something I already had. That would be my cell phone stand. And this, I think I paid less than 10 bucks for this. I think I might have paid $6 for this, $6 or $7 on Amazon. But I'm sure any cell phone stand would work for this purpose, but let me show you how I use mine and why I like this particular model. And I will leave the link to it down below. And I love it, 1, because it's cheap, 2, because it really, really works, and 3, because I can get it in all different colors, including, okay, full disclosure, I have 2 computers, so I have 2 of these, and I just bought this last week for $6. Same kind of model, same stand, just my favorite color, which again, color makes me happy. So let me explain to you why I love this so much. So first of all, I love that it has a weighted bottom. So that stand ain't going nowhere. Papers can shift and move. I can spin around and nothing's going to knock this baby over. Secondly, there's a lot of space there. You can see that's going to hold a lot of index cards. And some of my decks get to be, oh, I don't know, 20, 30 index cards deep. And so I can hold a lot of cards here at one time. I also love the fact that it's got a grippy surface here where the cards sit on. So they're even more sturdy there. Lastly, I can affect or change the angle. So however I want to access the card or look at it, depending on where I'm working, I can change that around to meet my needs. For example, and I'm going to try and put a picture of this up on the screen. I keep one of my cell phone stands right underneath my monitor so that I can keep my deck right underneath where I'm writing. So all I have to do, I don't even have to move my neck or my head. My eyes just glance downward. I note whatever I need to on my card, and then I just look up and keep on writing. I find that it really helps with my efficiency, and I'm not moving my head or neck so much, which is always a good thing. The other benefit to using this cell phone stand as a stand for my index card deck is when I'm not using it, I just fold it up and throw it in my drawer. So I can't beat the convenience and I mean, like I said, I already had it. The accessibility, it is dirt cheap. Now, truth be told, you can buy fancy schmancy index card stands, or what do they call them? Stadiums, I think they call them. I've seen them. Levenger has one. I think it was over $100. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not, at any given time, I am not trying to reference more than 1 or 2 cards at a time. So I love the fact that I can use a cheap cell phone stand for that purpose. Keeps what I need front and center. So there you have it. There are 6 alternative tools or hacks that hopefully you can take and put to use with your index cards to just enjoy them even more and to improve your efficiency and productivity.